And we'll soon get into champion select, and here we go. Let me pull in the...
Fluffy Bunny is on blue side. Gonna be interesting to see what gets banned away. If it, I don't know if either of these junglers play Nidalee, but Nidalee, pretty nasty champion in the jungle with the recent changes. We've seen what she can do in the LCS.
It's
Uh,
definitely one of those god tier
yeah,
picks right
well,
now.
speaking of god tier jungle picks, Jarvan being banned out, that's likely a ban for top lane Hecarim.
Oh god. Yeah, Weave Reaper's been playing a lot of Hecarim top lately. Apparently doing extremely well in solo queue. I
I
can
think
understand it, a very dominating presence in the laning phase, and progression into the mid-game objective phase too.
Hecarim is just such a beast of a champion, so bans still targeted. I'm not sure if that is necessarily a mid lane fizz ban or maybe it's that AD top fizz kind of ban as a LeBlanc ban coming through against Shimatora from Fluffy Bunnies. What picks do you think they're going to prioritize here?
I'm not sure, honestly, I don't know enough about Fluffy Bunnies to be able to make a call, but
Yeah, no,
it could go
gonna
either
drop
way.
that.
I don't know what they're going to be. Like, Reprot team has two new members of the team than they did when they won the championship
One,
of the winter. So it could be a completely different composition they're going for. But we're
yeah,
seeing the first pick Vi, an extremely strong contender in the jungle spot. I would argue that Vi is probably the best jungler in the game right now.
yeah. Vi is super strong.
Great early game presence, decent clear for that, for the early
Yeah.
clear into decent ganking early. Like, she has such high mobility, such high burst, and even shredding any like early game tanks like a Malphite. She can come up on anyone and really be a nuisance and hurt their laning.
Absolutely. We're seeing here where the you get first pick on blue side, but on purple side you oftentimes get to take away two very strong champions that aren't banned. So our pro team able to pick up that Lissandra and the Thresh. I know that Top Dog Scorpion does prefer that Thresh. Likely going to be a mid lane Lissandra here. I don't think Weaver plays Lissandra.
I do think you're right. Lissandra definitely picking a nice flex pick in mid.
Absolutely.
Very versatile champion. You honestly can do a lot with her, whatever you want to do. She fits in most compositions, so it's a very safe first pick. And the Thresh, like you said, Top Dog Scorpion, that is his main support champion. Yeah, he will have no problems going with the Thresh. Regardless of matchup, he'll feel very confident in that laning phase.
See Cassidy coming out here. Could be, again, that's another sort of flex pick like Lissandra can go in the top lane, can go in the mid lane, but is a really strong pick regardless. As well as a Nami coming in to go against that Thresh. Another very popular support, seeing as how Janna was dropped out, Graves being covered here. He's still a strong AD carry.
Absolutely. Now, interesting to see the Nami pickup. I know Nami's really good for disengage, and even engage. And actually, let's switch over to the Wukong pickup. What are your opinions on that, Chris?
The monkey is ridiculously strong. He kind of has it a little bit rough. I'm assuming this is going to be a Wukong jungle, but Wukong sort of has a little bit of a rough early start, but once he gets his smite upgrade, he can clear perfectly fine. His ganks are pretty strong. Post 6, he's absolutely devastating. So, hopefully going to be able to match some of that ganking pressure that Vi does get when she gets level 6. I think he's a pretty top-tier jungler with the likes of Jarvan being dropped out. We see a Gnar coming out. So, the Cassin is going to be in the mid lane with a Gnar top lane. Not a surprise there. Gnar is just a ridiculously strong champion.
Cassid's probably there to curb the Lissandra. Lissandra
Yeah.
won't be able to roam anywhere without being punished. She won't be able to win the lane super easy. Cassid's
Yeah.
extremely great at out-trading Lissandra.
Yeah, Cassid's Q shield is just invaluable for that kind of
Oh,
thing.
look at the hover, though.
But he does lack wave clear. That is the one thing. His wave clear is pales in comparison
That's
to
very true.
Lissandra's. But on a team-wide basis, Sivir brings you just about all the wave clear you're going to need. Very strong AD carry, excellent utility, high utility ultimate there. Pairs really well with Gnar if they can time the fights around that Mega Gnar. And the Riven's still being hovered here. Not sure. It will likely get locked in. But never know. Top Dog Scorpion could just be messing with us. There it is.
I need to check up with stream.
Make sure we're not just sitting here talking to ourselves.
Need you... Okay, hold on. Jeez, people messaging me while I'm trying to stream. It's always fun. Alright, and so let's talk about the composition. From Reprot team, we're seeing very similar pickups. Riven being a very common pickup for Weaver Reaper. It's one of his best champions for top lane. Thresh, extremely great champion from Scorpion. He's shown excellent mechanics. I've seen Euphoria play Lissandra. He plays a very competent Lissandra. I have to admit, I've never seen Graves being played for Reprot team, nor have I seen competitive 5v5 Wukong jungle.
Yeah, the Wukong, it's going to be interesting to see how that Wukong goes over. Like I said, it's a weak early game, but if he can get through that, which he most of the time can, it just becomes an absolute nuisance to deal with. Though Gnar and Vi are pretty, like, do a decent job of dealing with the Wukong. You can peel it off of your carries, worst case scenario with Vi, and it's difficult to get through a frontline Gnar. And the chase potential on Fluffy Bunny's team is just absolutely ridiculous. They can pop the Sivir ultimate. They have Kassadin Rift Walks, as well as Vi's absurd amount of distance that she can close with Q and an ultimate combo. So Reprot team doesn't have the best disengage in the world. If Fluffy Bunnies can get ahead, they can run them down for days. And while Fluffy Bunnies does have that utility with the Sivir ultimate to be able to disengage from something like maybe a Wukong, as long as a priority target doesn't get hooked or locked down by Lissandra or flashed onto by Riven.
Definitely agree. It seems like Fluffy Bunnies is just in a very bad situation.
You think so?
I'm looking at it, just the Lissandra mobility. She can clear waves. She can engage very easily through terrain. The Thresh hook over terrain. Wukong making some sort of decoy flash ultimate play. It seems a little overwhelming to me. For them to be able to, for Fluffy Bunnies to be able to play off of that and still make an engagement go in their favor, it seems like it'll be a little difficult to play around.
I really like the Sivir pickup from Fluffy Bunnies. I feel like that was the absolute best AD carry they could pick in this scenario. It gives the extra added safety of the spell shield in addition to the disengage from her ultimate. And she has a pretty reasonable laning phase. With the sustain and poke from Nami, and we'll see how it goes. Graves and Thresh are both incredibly difficult to lane against. If that kind of goes, if you get hooked, then you kind of lose that laning phase. But Graves, again, also really strong AD carries, fading a little bit, not quite as prioritized in the meta now as he was a couple of weeks ago. Starting to lean more towards the likes of Sivir, but he's still a really strong AD carry nonetheless.
I definitely agree with that. Trying to figure out, what do you think the best course of action for Fluffy Bunnies will be to try to win this game? I mean, there has to be a win condition for every composition.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like their mid game could potentially snowball very, very hard. You're going to have the Sivir applying constant pressure on bottom lane, pushing those waves, because she can do so easily, in addition to the high-pressure ganks that Vi's going to be able to pull off even before level 6. I wouldn't be surprised to see, especially if some member of her Reprot team is overextended, Vi pull off a nice flash Q gank to start snowballing a lane, get that Kassadin up and going, so that he can make a large impact on the rest of his team. I think that's going to be really important. It's also going to be very important in the top lane, that Gnar versus Riven matchup. I don't play top lane. I don't really know much about that, but it seems like if Gnar can avoid getting killed early by Riven or by a gank from the Spartan, that he will be able to scale up defensively as long as he's able to farm and force Weaver Reaper to make plays elsewhere on the map.
Absolutely. I definitely think that'll be the case. They have to make a lot of plays
to
make it work.
Neither of these teams have a super strong siege potential. They have a decent amount of wave clear on both sides, but in terms of poke and sieging, it's a lot heavier engaged. So we should hopefully be seeing a lot of fighting in this game.
That's always the idea, right?
Yeah, we'll see if any team has crazy level 1 strat, pings going down.
Welcome to Summoner's Rift.
Now they're talking about the Fibonacci rotation.
Fibonacci rotations. Interesting. Reprot team staying grouped up here, weren't able to kill that ward. Ward going down from Spilly over there in the top river. Check and make sure no one is up there, but Reprot team sticking together here.
Now we get to see the new Saber skin played too. Pretty neat.
Oh yeah, that's true.
It's really sleek. Like the particle effects are meh, but it's really nice.
Well, it's a 750 skin. So yeah, I like the new array of 750 skins that have come out. I think they're pretty neat.
Definitely worth 750 RP.
Personally. Yeah, exactly. It's
So
not
we're
that
not
much
going to
RP.
see any weird level 1s. We're going to see Fluffy Bunnies playing off of the what are they? Krugs. And going for Gromp, Reprot team.
So
Alicia's
pretty
coming from the bot lane. Going to be pretty simple laning. We're going to see if any maybe early invades from the junglers come in.
Yeah, Vi likely will not invade here because she's not starting at that red buff. I am actually curious to see how low the monkey will get here in the jungle. Maybe I'm just a scrub and I don't know how to play Wukong at a higher level. But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see this game if the players go for the quick trinket upgrade on level 9 with the recent change to that yellow trinket. It becomes almost like Sightstone in your trinket slot.
Definitely something you need to look out for. It's extremely strong, and not a lot of players know about it. So
yeah,
it's definitely something that can give you an edge in this kind of tournament, where right after a very impactful patch happens, people get to react to the change before the pros do.
Absolutely.
Seeing
We see the Spartan here.
A little bit of farm on the Weaver Reaper, trying to get them poked down as well.
See the Spartan here actually taking a Scuttle Crab right after taking his blue buff. Haven't seen that before.
That seems like the common meta.
Yeah.
No, I know you're just joking about it. I'm just making a comment.
Yeah. Well, I usually go both buffs and then take one, but
Oh, really? You do?
yeah.
I always go.
I mean, maybe not on Wukong, but at least on a more durable champion or one that has sustain like Kha'Zix or a Hecarim, like that. As Fluffy Bunny's pushing in this bottom lane, not a huge surprise there. Big auto attack from Tata Scorpion. Casting in with the continuous Q harass.
So pretty standard lanes right now. We're seeing DSV on Vi going back. First recall coming back with a jungle item. The Spartan already on his way back for his jungle item. We're
Picking
looking
up
at
a
two chilling smite
smite.
items. Nothing special.
Double chilling smite. So both junglers looking to fight. They're not really looking to farm here, because of the fact that you can switch over from Ranger's Trailblazer to chilling smite. A lot of the times you'll see Ranger's Trailblazer picked up. Pressure is coming on here from the bottom lane, but not really affecting Shimatora's farm too much. He's able to farm decently well.
Spilly out trading Euphoria in most every case. We're seeing 2 taunts left. Scorpion going in for a play. Getting the play on Suki. Suki gonna be in range of the hook. Gets hooked. Shimatori gets bubbled up. Shimatori gonna get a little bit of damage. Suki getting low. Reluctant. Running back for the auto attacks. Getting the slow on Shimatori. A little weird of a trade. Definitely. Fluffy's in a decent position. They have the heal and decent mana on Suki to be able to come back with Nami.
Yeah, absolutely.
But a little bit of aggression Reprot team can get off of this. Deny a little bit of farm before the healing comes back. We're going to see how it plays out. Top Dog Scorpion gaining a lot of vision in the bot lane, trying to ensure maximum damage. Top Dog missing the play completely.
Bubble coming
really
out missing
mess
as
up
well.
that laning.
Yeah, a lot of aggression coming out in that bottom lane, and no kills going down quite yet. farm on top lane is pretty even. Weaver Reaper is out of pots. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, Euphoria did have to back off, pick himself out another Doran's ring. It's really difficult to win a sustained battle with a Kassadin that has a crystal in class.
Now we see the Spartan coming to top lane, trying to get a gank off of Vexum in a decent position to be able to jump away from this. Spartan, very low level compared. Vexum might try to fight this. No, there's a red buff from the Spartan though. Weaver Reaper has his flash. He could flash stun. Vexum, will he get out of there? No. Weaver Reaper walks away, and he comes out just fine. Spartan getting a little low though. Not going to be able to do too much. He's going to back.
Vexum with the cheeky boomerang.
DSV in a great position. Hits the clone. Spartan gets out alive with the decoy.
Spartan getting a decent amount of harass there onto Vexum, trying to just relieve some pressure from Weaver Reaper, seeing that he was pushed to his turret, but it's going to have to back himself because he got so low off of that gank.
Now we're seeing the gold deficit, not much obviously, it's only 6 minutes in, but 0.2k gold. Fluffy bunnies at our head, so nothing much really, it's just little farm. Now it's only 0.1, so it's on the higher end. Near
Very little on the gold deficit. Neither team has particularly large amount of wards down on the map right now. We have some, trinket ward visions from the solo laners.
For a nice trade on Euphoria. Euphoria getting below half health, having to use the claw out. That's not a trade you want to take as a Sandra.
Yeah, it is not a trade you want to take, but when you're against a Kassadin, most of the time you don't get much of a choice. Kassadin, Spilly there in that mid lane has built up a decent farm advantage onto Euphoria with that Lissandra, but that's to be expected. The Lissandra going to be losing out to the Kassadin due to the ease of trading that his Q provides him. So Euphoria going to be looking to scale into fights a little bit better. Offer that lockdown that Kassadin can't quite match. As bot lane we actually see pushed again towards Reprot team's turret, but Shimitora farming fine despite this. Is actually up by about 10 farm now.
The laning's, I would have to argue, Fluffy Bunny is actually in a great position for the laning phase. But Kassadin's getting a free ride to farm, which is always great. Kassadin scales so well into mid and late game. It's not something that you want to take lightly as when you're a Reprot team. In addition to that, Gnar doing particularly well against Riven. He's not dying. He's now in a spot where he can comfortably stay in lane at half health and not have to worry about dying immediately. Make some plays here and there. And then also their bot lane pushing the wave constantly, keeping Graves on his toes. Shimitora not being able to farm as easily as he should be able to. And he's still actually ahead. So
yeah, he's still doing a great job at farming, and Graves does have a decent amount of wave clear, so he can keep that wave from full-on pushing into his turret. Weaver Reaper is now down by 10 farm in the top lane. Vexum has gotten to that point now where he's just so darn tanky that it's going to be really difficult actually coming in bot lane, maybe. Nope, just harassing.
Nice spell shield coming in from the hook.
Ooh. But that Gnar is now really to the point where he doesn't have to worry so much about getting solo killed by the Riven.
Absolutely. He, especially with timing the Mega Gnar, if he gets Mega Gnar at any point when Weaver Reaper is close by, that's going to be a contest Weaver Reaper has to run away from. Mega Gnar is just too big, especially when you're durable with the Giant's Belt. But it looks like DSV is coming in for the gank. Topped up Scorpion, now getting ulted. Really coming in, choosing the gank, flashing off. Ignite goes down. DSV really low. Shimitora having to walk away. That's now a 1-for-0 double gank. Perfect mobility coming out of Fluffy Bunnies for that easy kill in the first blood. First blood goes on to the Laptic. Perfect for your AD carry to be able to scale into that mid-game and objective control. Very strong opening game.
Yeah, that was a fantastic four-man gang. Down there.
We're now going in.
Right.
In the middle of everything. Spartan goes in with an ultimate. Suki getting really low too. Everyone's really low. DSV using the Vault Breaker on Spartan to make him get, tell him to stay away.
So the Spartan trying to come in with a cheeky cleanup gank there with his ultimate. Wasn't able to pop down any kills. Shimitora did get exhausted. That was an excellent exhaust there coming out of Suki to just take away the Graves AoE burst damage. It's definitely saved some lives there with that exhaust. And I do want to note that the fight before that, Shimitora put an enormous amount of damage down, I believe, on the DSV. It was one of the members of Fluffy Bunnies.
Yes.
You have to respect that Grace burst. We were Reaper going in for some harass here. Not going to win that trade.
Megan, he saw Meganar coming up. He's just going to back away. There's
Yeah.
no reason to play around with that.
Yeah, you don't want to mess around with Meganar.
I think I made an error. Spilly was the one who actually got the first blood. I was under the. I actually misread and thought Relaptic got it. So my apologies for the information. Weaver Reaper taking a lot of poke on the top lane. That's one thing I hate about Gnar. His ability to remain mobile, really long range, and sustain with his passive, and still CC you is just silly. Like,
Yeah.
You can't trade with them easily.
Cyrus is still such a strong champion.
Absolutely. Especially once you, like, on your first back and you get those items, you're in such a good spot because you come back with a tanky item, you're not going to die instantly. So
Yeah.
it just secures the rest of the lane.
Absolutely. Both junglers kind of farming it out here. Pretty even farm across the board for them. There is this big deficit in the mid lane, though. The 80 carries and top laners are kind of close. Oh, never mind. I'm just an idiot. The mid lane and 80 carry farms are mirroring each other there, so both teams pretty close there. Gold advantage coming in here from that first blood and the assist money that went over to it.
Spilly is in such a good spot right now. He's going to be able to just dominate this lane. Euphoria is in an awful position to be able to farm effectively without taking much harass. Spartan now going to get some dragon control. It's a really good idea. They want to ensure that at no point during this early game that Fluffy Bunnies gets an easy dragon. They're in a position that they could if they made the right calls.
Absolutely.
With the first blood on a mobile champion like Spilly, they can play around dragon very easily and get picks off really nicely. Especially when you have a Vi and a Nami. It'd be extremely beneficial for a Reprot team to get a little vision on that and know where and where they are not. So very strong.
Yeah, Fluffy Bunnies with that ton of vision control on that dragon right now. Two
As
pink
you can
wards
see,
down.
Weaver Reaper not going to be able to do much, even with a couple Qs and a stun. That's still minimal damage. Spartan coming into mid lane. Has to walk away. Not too much you can do there.
Yeah, it's pretty tough to gank a Cassin in post level 6. Really tough. Shimitora, though, is maintaining a pretty large farm advantage down here in that bottom lane. He's up 112 to 76. That's really good for a Reprot team due to how strong Graves is in that mid game, but because of the assist gold and back timings, Relaptic has the same items as him currently. That gold advantage.
Looks like a double gank top now. Weaver Reaper reading into this and staying back. Very good call. Great awareness of the mid being on. Going in for the ultimate gank on bottom lane. Shimitora blowing up Relaptic with the ultimate. That's a 1-for-0 and
1-for-0 and
being taken for Fluffy Bunnies, but the Dragon's now an easy pickup for a Reprot team. Relaptic just not expecting the Spartan to come in with the ultimate. Fantastic coordination, great use of objective control. Tsuki now in a decent spot. No wave though. Shimitora is just going to walk
comes a teleport in.
He's going to be able to take this.
Spartan does not have smite currently.
Dragon resets awkward situation. And looks like Reprot team comes away with the Dragon.
Reprot team does get the Dragon, but they lose 2. And remember, they did lose that turret top lane. Looks like it's going to be equalized here by Weaver Reaper and Euphoria. That was great awareness from Weaver Reaper, knowing to leave that turret, because they did not actually have any wards to spot that roam out.
Yeah, all it was, he knew the mid lane was missing, he knew it was highly notable, and they haven't seen the jungler a little bit. 2 and 2 together. Probably
Absolutely.
going to try to do a little bit of turret aggression. Try to
Great map awareness. But at the end of the day, Fluffy Bunnies coming out ahead. They do get that mid lane turret. And the couple of kills that they got at that dragon. The Reprot team did pick up the dragon, but it's first dragon. Oftentimes worth trading a couple of kills.
Reprot team reading into that. On top lane, just going to play around that.
Top
Relaptic in a good
Scorpion
position to take the
with
bottom turret.
flashes.
Never mind. Shimitora is just going to say no to that.
Yes, Shimitora shows up. He has his Infinity Edge completed. So he's going to be looking to do quite a bit of damage with that.
deficit. We're only looking at 1k at this moment. It's nothing significant, but Fluffy Bunnies with a slight edge. The first blood, it didn't get the dragon though, and they have an extra turret. So
yeah,
really important to keep tabs on this stuff, but nothing that Reprot team can't handle.
Vexum going with that Frozen Mallet build onto Gnar. Saw Zion Spartan do that. Remember back in the CLG TSN game last week.
Right.
Caused a lot of problems for TSN.
It's pretty. I can imagine that being pretty obnoxious.
Yeah, absolutely.
Spartan setting up for a nice in-lane gank bot. In-lane ganks are extremely strong against champions like Nami. Even like you need extreme warding to play. Oh, DSV reading into this, ready for the counter. The counter in-lane gank. Spartan owner. DSV going in here. Oh my gosh.
Goodbye.
Suki just getting completely blown up. Collateral damage not going to be enough to finish them. 2 flashes out, and they're going to be 1 for 0 on the lane with 2 flashes. Weaver Reaper in a really bad spot on top lane. Spilly. Vexen and Weaver Reaper both use your flash. Weaver Reaper's going to pick up here. Too much CC to handle, and Meganar's over there throwing a brick house. Weaver Reaper going for the all-in on Spilly. Ignite goes in, ultimate misses. Weaver Reaper just gets picked up. Easy kill by Spilly. And there's 4 men coming from Reprot team on bot lane to pick up that second tier turret.
Yeah, easy kill there from Spilly, but it took them quite a bit to chase Weaver Reaper down. He wasted a good 15-20 seconds, and in that time, the rest of the Reprot team was able to pick up a second turret on that bottom lane, in addition to getting the kill on Suki. So, good trade there from Reprot team, and it's going to show in that gold lead as they do pick up that extra turret.
Absolutely. Now that the gold lead is now in their favor, minimally, they're going to be able to play more liberally. You know, risks are going to be a little bit more open to them. Now they're not going to have to really worry too much. I mean, there's no dragon coming up for another few minutes. They just play their lane standard, play smart, understand where the rotations are, and they can easily get into this game.
Absolutely. One thing that big damage coming out there from Shimmatora. Looks like they should be able to defend this turret. I don't think DSV is looking too heavily for a dive. One thing that I will be interested to see for the rest of this game is during the last tournament, Weaver Reaper's Ribbon play largely consisted of him making really good map rotations after laning phase was over. He didn't solo kill people top lane necessarily that much, but he knew how to flank and he knew how to get in and make high impact plays with that Riven while being even with the enemy team's top laner. So we'll see if he's able to successfully do that. The Spartan kind of getting ripped off there. I hate it when you only get a pink ward with the chicken spike buff. It's a real disappointment when you don't
in
get
a decent position. Euphoria not going to be able to get the ultimate off Weaver Reaper getting CC, and they're going to have to walk away from that. Fantastic awareness coming from Fluffy Bunnies. Fast response timing. And now there's going to be a lot of pressure in the mid lane.
Hook just barely missing out there. Although he would have hooked Vexum and Meganar. Not the most useful target to hook.
You do not want that.
You do not want that.
Just take it back.
Put it back where you found it.
A little bit of aggression coming out of Reprot team on top lane. We're going to have the wave push and hope maybe try to 5-man mid. Maybe get a little tower dive with using Lissandra. She still does have her ultimate. They have the collateral damage. They are capable of performing a decent tower dive if the conditions are there.
Yeah, Fluffy Bunnies here. Gonna look to be clearing these waves and see if they can catch somebody out of position with the cast-in mobility. Graves is a lot stronger than Sivir right now. Not only due to the fact that he has a Zeal over her, but also because Graves' mid-game is just disgustingly powerful with the damage on his spells. PSV spotting out a ward there with the Raptor buff. We just get siege here in the mid lane until one team decides they want to break it. Plenty of engage on both teams though, so the slightest error here could cause a really nasty team fight on one side or the other due to the engage from both Vi and Gnar and also
absolutely. Looks like Dragon's coming up in 5 seconds. They're going to play around that, try to get a little bit of vision. And fantastic awareness coming out of Fluffy Bunnies. Spartan getting caught up completely, getting CC'd, getting one ultimate off with a shield. Gets a little bit of damage, but it's not enough to turn the tide of the Dragon. Suki getting caught up completely, having to flash. Nami Wave comes out. Scorpion in a bad position, taking it out of half health. Weaver Reaper's coming around. No one's taking Dragon just yet. It's just got to be a little bit of zoning. A lot of members of both teams are unhealthy. They're not going to be able to fully commit to this without worrying. With Spartan down, there's no smite. So there's that coming out from Reprot team. Fluffy Bunnies has that edge, but are they willing to commit to the Dragon damage?
Yeah,
they want to try.
So risky to commit to the second Dragon. The Reprot team.
Dragon's now at half health.
Looks like Reprot team is just going to let them have it. Maybe try and pick up a few exit kills here.
Or Alton himself, and they're going to walk away. Good.
Reprot team barely living out there, flashing red on both of their carries. Fever Reaper going to pick up a pink ward on the exit, but looks like Dragon's going to go down. Reprot team not going to be able to answer with any objectives. Fluffy Bunnies should be able to get to mid before Weaver Reaper pushes this into
Ignite
the
coming out
turret.
from Vexum on Weaver Reaper.
Weaver Reaper
lit up entirely Spilly coming in for the kill.
Yeah, that was just a silly overextension on his part. Not respecting the Kassadin mobility there. Interesting to note as well, Vexum not only came out of his lane ahead, but he also came out of his lane ahead in a scenario where Weaver Reaper had Ignite.
That's extremely true.
Able to survive that Riven, and now he's just a big dumb tanky Gnar that's just going to be able to take hits for days.
And with the base damage there, it's not going to be something that Reprot team can deal with easily.
Yeah, absolutely.
Gnar's going to be there to do a ton of damage to you, offer some CC, a little bit of mobility, and not die.
And not die on top of that. Spartan actually switching over his smite upgrade.
Interesting upgrade on
challenging smite
on Wukong. Wukong being a high caster-based champion used for his ultimate utility, I don't see that as a better buy than Chilling Smite.
I would imagine it's there to be able to smite whoever's doing the majority of the damage to him for the 20% damage reduction while he spins around in his Cyclone. So the defensive aspect of it synergizes very nicely with Wukong's natural bulk due to his passive.
Okay.
But it is, again, it's single target damage reduction. It's not like his passive where it reduces all of the damage he's taking.
Right. Okay, that makes sense.
From enemies.
I
So
hadn't considered the damage reduction part of it.
yeah, it can be pretty useful, but there's no hyper damage source coming out here from Fluffy Bunnies. Obviously, the Kassadin does a lot of damage, the Sliver does a lot of damage, but there's also just a lot of damage coming from the Gnar and from the Vi.
Spartan going in for the ultimate. Suki in a very bad position. Exhaust coming in. Suki getting ulted by Lissandra. DSP now using the assault battery. Oh, so much hysteria. Shinotoma using collateral damage. Weaver even a decent spot. Getting a brick house to the face. Spilly is very healthy, so is Vex and Rolaptic. They're going to be able to come away from that. A 2-for-1 in Reprot team's favor, but
yeah, even though
they're in a great spot to take this mid turret, or at least pressure it. So let's see how this goes.
Even though Reprot team does get more kills there, both of their carries were either low or knocked down. As Euphoria died,
top dog Scorpion going in for the flash play. Vex using the flash for Laptic in a decent position. No mana though. Shimatoma taking a lot of damage, only at half. Weaver Reaper also a little unhealthy, but Scorpion in a decent position. So is Spartan. Spartan coming back from base with full health, going for the Raptors.
Yeah, they were able to defend that turret quite nicely, and
great reaction from Reprot team.
Yeah, great reaction from Reprot team to defend that turret, so they actually do turn that into a favorable 2-for-1 trade. Again, no objectives really fall in their favor, but in a slow kind of grind of a game, getting kills gets you more gold eventually.
Absolutely. And it's interesting to see because usually you could look at the team composition and say, this trade went even, it's beneficial for this team because they have a late game, but both teams actually opting for that mid-game composition, where the late game not going to be too much of a big deal. I think the big all-stars of the late game in this composition will probably be Wukong. Wukong, maybe Riven and Vi.
Yeah, I would say both of these teams have decently scaling late game comp. Sivir, I would argue, scales way better than Graves, simply for the utility on her ultimate.
That's true.
Not to mention that when you have a lot of AoE lockup that Gnar can offer, the amount of damage Sivir can output in an area is really, really high, in addition to having that high-impact ultimate. Whereas Graves, not the best scaling late game champ, but it's against a team that has a Vi and an R, I would take that over something like a Cogmaw that's just going to be an immobile turret the whole time.
Smart going into the Lantern. You can't pass. You can't not take the Dark Passage. Like, it could be standing there and you're moving 2 feet, but you gotta take it. I mean, that's just BM if you don't.
Yeah, exactly.
I could walk.
Just a, yeah, it's just a waste of.
Take Dark Passage.
Why waste your precious mana?
Yeah, exactly.
Reprot team looking like they wanted to fight there for a little bit, but they.
So now they're the Reprot team looking for a little bit of vision, going for the dragon vision because they know dragon's coming up in 35 seconds. They want to play off that a little bit. Corey in a great position, great ultimate. ESV in a very bad position, smart using the ultimate, hitting up Vexamin. Collateral damage coming up. Weaver Reaper picking up 2 kills. Top Dog Scorpion also in a decent position, but going back to the mid lane. Weaver Reaper a little low. Shimatoma also. This is going to be another 2-for-1 situation for a Reprot team. Scorpion, Top Dog Scorpion in a good spot. They might be able to follow up on Vexen. Vexen really tanky though. It's really now using the Ignite on Weaver Reaper. Will Weaver live? I don't know. It's really taking a lot of damage. Getting the shutdown for Weaver Reaper. That's a 2 for 2. 2 for 3 now. Spilly being the all-star of this fight. Shimatoma also getting low. Will he be able to pick this? Really going down. Yes, he goes down to Shimatoma. Scorpion going down to Vexen. But Shimatoma going to be picked up. That's going to be it. Coming in from the Gnar. Vexen showing
mallet.
A lot of great positioning, and that's a 5 for 4.
Yeah. Big, the Cassin coming up big in the extended fight there from Team Fluffy Bunnies. Spilly just going absolutely crazy on this Cassin. He was off by himself, and Dragon's going to go down here for Fluffy Bunnies, but Spilly was off by himself pushing bottom lane to try and get that turret down there, which also did get picked up, and he was able to flank in at Euphoria, goes in and immediately blows some targets up. Caston was able to come in along the side and just clean the rest of the fight up.
And that's all she wrote.
The Frozen Mallet Gnar and the Caston chase after the majority of the fight has gone down.
I think the big
really good stuff for Fluffy
the
Bunnies.
whole fight, Euphoria. I mean, I understand, like, you see that golden moment as Lissandra, and you want to ultimate, like, in the middle of 5 people and do a lot of damage. Yeah. But if your team's not in a position to efficiently follow up with the skill set your team has, it's just not going to work out for your team in the long run. I mean, sure, you got some damage on, but you're not going to be able to full fight after that because there wasn't a follow-up.
Euphoria did get a nice catch there, noticing the Caston was extended on bot lane and not with the rest of his team, but unfortunately, Reprot team not able to disengage the fight after Euphoria went in. I think they immediately blew up 2 targets with his and Weaver Reaper's Wind Slash. But they were not able to successfully disengage after that happened. Spartan's in trouble here. They weren't able to successfully disengage after that happened and just fell prey to the Cassidon and Frozen Mallet Gnar chase.
It's going to be a lot. I could definitely expect, no matter what the outcome of this game is, a Gnar being I don't know about the Cassidon, but the Gnar just seems a little much.
Yeah, this Gnar pick coming off huge here for Fluffy Bunnies.
It's just so big. It takes forever to kill. It does a Graves who is a bursty AD carry. I mean, you can't just kill a Gnar. Like, it's not that easy.
Yeah, the issue there, Graves, he does have a nice attack speed steroid, but still pretty tanky Gnar. Gnar bar is filling up there. Wouldn't be surprised to see Fluffy Bunnies maybe try and force something around that. Or maybe they'll just be content to... Yeah.
That's amazing. I love that. Is that like a thing?
Yeah, it is like a thing.
Oh, that's amazing. I never knew it was awesome.
I think Riv came up with it.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah, they've been calling it in the LCS that for like a while now.
Okay, I want to start doing that. That's amazing.
Fluffy Bunny's not going to be able to take advantage of that right now, but it doesn't really matter. They're up, actually not that much in gold. Reprot team still, they're even in turrets, they're down by some kills. But that gold total does not comment on the 3 dragons that Fluffy Bunnies has been able to pick up. Actually, 2. I believe the Spartan took 1 of those dragons.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's now 1 and 2 in dragons.
Okay, so then that's not as big of a deal. The second dragon is super relevant.
Third
It's
one,
relevant.
we'll definitely see needing to contest. The added mobility on Fluffy Bunnies will be extremely detrimental to how the rotations work out for them.
Yeah.
So we will have to see a lot of contests for that.
Yeah, speed just is coming up big here for Fluffy Bunnies. They have that Gnar with that Frozen Mallet, that Cast, and that Sivir ultimate, so that would be a dragon that you would really want to contest. And again, the gold lead is really not that big in favor of Fluffy Bunnies, but there's a huge amount of gold on that 7-1 Kassadin.
Now we're seeing a 1-4 setup coming from Fluffy Bunnies. Hook going up from Scorpion, not going to hit, but Gnar in a decent position now. Push this turret on top lane. They're going to take a free turret, or at least put damage on it. There's nothing that Reprot team can do to fix that. They're just going to go for the mid turret instead. Now what are they going to do to counter this? Euphoria now getting a little low from the poke from Kassadin, but not going to be able to. They're just going to back away, let Gnar get the turret, and that'll be that.
Yeah, so they're going to trade 1 turret for 1 turret, and extended like turret dive onto the likes of the
Ultimate,
Cast.
Spartan in a great position. Perfect 3 Weaver getting the full ultimate on DSV. DSV can completely cancel out. No ultimate stability. Also though, so is Suki. Relaptic taking a lot of damage from Scorpion. Will he be able to make a play? Flash flight. Exhaust going on Relaptic. Relaptic not going to be able to do much. Weaver taking more damage from Relaptic. Relaptic getting hooked. That's going to be it. Relaptic taking out. Even heal being used. And that's going to be a second turret. Suki having to recall. Only 3 living. Vexum not in a position to be able to stop this. Another turret. Reprot team, great advantage using that 4v5. Baiting them into their own jungle and using their AoE to secure. Now they're going to take a free inhibitor off of this.
Huge mistake there from Fluffy Bunnies. When you're in this scenario, vision is of the utmost importance as they're trying to defend this inhibitor.
Spark gets some damage. Billy going in for the kill. Spark getting really low and... Oh, wait.
That wasn't
Okay. I mean,
wasn't
that was
the best advice flash there.
Yeah,
Shibatora wanting to take that lantern, but
yeah.
realizing that it was better to not.
So Dragon's up in 45 seconds. This is not good. Reprot team's going to have to come back with the Spartan in 25 seconds. He has to hurry his way down to Dragon, make sure that they secure it, or Fluffy Bunnies that is, so they can get this. That mobility will help them so much coming back in this game. They're only down 1k.
It will help them a lot. Whoa.
Inhibitor.
Baron.
Baron, this is the desperation Baron call. There's no vision coming out of Reprot.
They actually do not have vision on this.
So will they be able to know?
Looks like they smell it. Euphoria is leading the charge there on that Lissandra, but he is really worried out.
TSB going in. Euphoria ulting herself, flashing in. Vexum in a very bad spot, having to flash the wall too. Euphoria taking a lot of damage. TSB, a lot of AoE collateral damage, doing a lot of damage to everyone. And that's a 1-for-1, and Baron going to Fluffy Bunnies. The Reprot team's going to respond by just pushing down the top lane. Trying to take more objectives. Vexum, everyone's on health. Enhanced Recall's going to help them out a lot with this stuff. They're going to put Reprot team pinging the mid lane. They're going to push down this mid lane.
So Reprot team there, going back to the very beginning of all of this, Reprot team doing a little bit of a cheeky hiding in the fog of war to try and get a catch onto Fluffy Bunnies. And if you're Fluffy Bunnies, you really need to stay away from spots like that. The fog of war catch on the side of Reprot team as they pick up the Specs Dragon here is just absolutely enormous. Getting caught off guard like that and not being able to have a disjointed fight that favors the chasing potential of the Kassadin.
Oh, Spartan getting an ultimate on DSV and Vexum. 2 tanks. Shibatora getting in a bad spot with DSV. He's going to go down though. Vexum very tanky. Spilly doing a lot of damage to Scorpion. Scorpion's probably going to die. Spartan put himself in an even worse situation. There goes Vexum's ultimate though. Not going to be able to do much else. And that's that. They get the Reprot team gets the dragon. That's 2 dragons to 2. But Baron buff is currently on Fluffy Bunnies, but they do have their mid-turn hit down. So those are going to cancel out. By the time the inhibitor comes back up, Baron will be almost dead. Not going to be a lot of play on either side.
Absolutely, and we're just going to have a very close game, assuming we don't get any more ridiculous catches like Reprot team was doing. I feel like they need to be able to spring some kind of a trap or get a flank with the Wukong, with the Riven, instead of trying to run straight at.
They're going to be able to take this mid lane easily. A little bit extra gold. Coming out ahead by 2.5k. Not bad, not bad.
Vexim just tanking that turret without any kind of an issue on that Gnar, even in the little squishy Gnar form.
Really interesting game. I really want to know where they're going to go with this. Reprot team, I don't think they should have taken the fight after Dragon. You have a free Dragon, why not just walk away with it?
Yeah, it seemed like they were trying to get away from the Kassadin and Gnar. They're aware that they're going to get chased down by the Kassadin and Gnar. Likely just trying to get what they can, knowing that Fluffy Bunnies is going to likely run them down anyway. We see Shimitora actually building a Blade of the Ruin King here to counter all of that health stacking coming out from the Gnar. But a Frozen Heart coming out from DSV, so he's going to also want that last Whisper.
Yeah, I'd say the
Get through that as well.
Gnar and Kassadin seem to be the big MVPs for Fluffy Bunnies. A lot of Reprot team is going to have to put a lot of concentration on them. I mean, you don't want to kill the Gnar, you don't want to focus him necessarily, but you got to keep an idea of where he is on the field and play around that. Meanwhile, completely blowing up Spilly's Kassadin. You need to make sure he's not there to do consistent damage over a long team fight.
Yeah, and at the same time, Relaptic has scaled up. He's not as far ahead as Shimitora, but he does have that. Well, actually, he's even on items with Shimitora, despite not having as many kills or quite as much farm. And he's going to be dishing out quite a bit of damage himself. So the Sivir AoE also going to be piling up there, especially if a Reprot team tries to jump onto Kassadin in an hourglass.
Spartan going in for no ultimate flash coming out from Suki. Vexim will be able to get out of this. He's pretty tanky. I don't see any reason you shouldn't. Throwing the boomerang out. 5 versus TSV. Now using the ultimate on Shimitora. Shimitora getting caught up completely. Flashing out. Ultimate coming on Shimitora getting ignited. Vexim going over for the ultimate. Reaver made great talk to do AoE damage. Reprot team in a pretty good spot. Not anymore. Relaptic can turn around with the flash. Reaver flash stunning. The Spartan. Now a really bad situation. Not going to take out Billy. Spartan's going to die for free. And that's a 4 for 2. Not the fight you wanted. They had a great start there. They weren't able to finish it up.
Yeah, they tunneled a little too hard on the Vexim and Suki in that mid lane, and both Spilly and DSV were able to get the flank onto the Shimitora on Graves. And Shimitora actually did a fantastic job, along with Top Dog Scorpion, at staying alive that fight, but unfortunately his time was spent trying to keep himself alive and not outputting damage, whereas Relaptic could just sit there and lay down damage the entire time. Scattered fight there for a Reprot team, but it comes out in favor of Fluffy Bunnies with that Kassadin, and then the Gnar still hasn't died. Reprot team pushing this mid lane back out. Vision is going to be key here for them, because Fluffy Bunny's kind of turning that the idea of flanking around onto a Reprot team and was able to get around immediately to the back line. There wasn't too much the Reprot team could do about it.
Reprot team gonna play around in their jungle a little bit. Ward's not there to stop them. DSV getting a little cut off. Ultimate coming out. Victoria targeting DSV. That might be a free inhibitor pickup. Spartan doing a little bit of damage. Vexim too tanky for it to matter though. Spartan getting a little low, and that's going to be the inhibitor walking away probably. There they go.
Very good catch there from Reprot team.
They know all enough Baron timers and Dragon timers. Look like they're going to play with Fate a little bit again. Ward coming out. There goes the CC. Meganar. Vexim using it on Victoria. A lot of damage to Shimitora. Collateral damage comes out. No, he's still holding on to it. Weaver getting in a decent spot to be able to do a lot of damage. Sun goes out. Knockup. Vexim really low. Having to flash.
So tanky.
Relaptic doing a lot of damage over time. Sivir being neglected is going to be able to do a lot. But Spilly, will we be able to do anything? slow coming in, and uses the AoE. Skelly picking up the kill, and that was a 3 for 1.
Yeah.
But they do get the inhibitor, and Dragon's now up. That's a free Dragon for Fluffy Bunnies if they play it right.
Free Dragon or free Baron. As the Spartan, Euphoria, and Top Dog Scorpion are going to be dead for another 30 seconds. The attack speed there from Shimatora after dashing.
Going for the Baron. Looks like they're going to try to rush in Baron again. Weaver Reaper not editing. Looks like they don't care. They're going for Dragon instead. They don't even know, actually.
Yeah, I'm sure they're assuming that they're going for Baron here. They know the timer. They know there's 3 people on their team were dead. Actually going to give Shimatora a little bit of a hard time here. He should be able to secure the Dragon, but he is definitely going to go down to that first final arm.
There goes the Baron. Fourth Dragon comes down for Reprot team 3rd. Or Baron goes down for Fluffy Bunnies.
So, Reprot team getting what they can there, knowing that they're not going to be able to defend that Baron attempt. And we're able to pick up that Dragon, but it probably isn't going to be enough to get them back in this game. Reprot team trying the cheeky Fog of War catch, actually twice in a row there. And the first fight was fine. It got them a nice catch, got them the inhibitor, but the second fight they just were too far behind to be able to make a huge impact there.
Looks like Fluffy Bunny is going to send 4 people top, throwing down the ward. They're going to see the Krugs. Vexum in a spot to see Euphoria taking a little bit of damage, not too much. There's the Mega Gnar going ultimate coming on top of Scorpion and the Spartan. Who's in a really bad situation. Another wave going into Spartan using the ultimate DSV game. That's not enough damage to stop them before using an AoE. Weaver Reaper using the ultimate. Completely decimating DSV. Euphoria. Zonia's bubble gonna pop her up, and that's dead.
I just want to note that Suki's Nami waves this game have been absolutely spot on. The one that fight was used really well to keep the catches locked up. In the previous fight, I would argue it may have even won Fluffy Bunnies the previous fight when the Spartan did come out and get that catch with his ultimate. The Nami waves have just been fantastic for disengaging. And it looks like this turret is just going to go down. Relaptic has been pretty much untouched in these fights. He's been able to stay behind all of the AoE wombo from Reprot team and just lay down consistent damage, which is exactly what you want from your 4-item zipper. 4.5 items zipper. Look, QSS is really add to the damage aspect of that. Is second inhibitor going to go down here in favor of Fluffy Bunnies. So many Baroned up Supermans.
Reprot team in a pretty bad situation. Superman's not easy to deal with. They're going to have a lot of trouble. It's 2 inhibitors now. The mid inhibitor doesn't come back for a little bit. They have another minute or 2.
Yeah.
And Baron is going to be on Fluffy Bunnies for another minute or 2. It's going to be a tough siege.
Yeah, Baron's timer will...
Oh, mid inhibitor actually is up now, so that's actually good for them.
Yeah, the Baron buff will likely time out before Fluffy Bunnies is able to push another lane out. But having 2 exposed inhibitors does make this game a lot harder, and as Reprot team loses more vision, the likelihood that they're going to be able to bushwhack from the Fog of War is a lot lower. Not to mention the fact that Fluffy Bunnies has handled that pretty well the past couple of times that Reprot team hasn't done it. They have so much vision.
Or the mid lane. Looks like Fluffy Bunny is actually going to tend to go for the bot lane, but they're actually going to be taking that 3 inhibitor mid. Reprot team having to look for a fight here. They're going to have to win this 5v5, or just Fluffy Bunnies will walk away. No other live objectives to worry about, though. The only things to consider are the inhibitors and towers.
Thor doing a decent amount of damage there to that big Gnar. Euphoria was thinking about going in there, but the rest of his team wasn't quite in position to follow up.
Scorpion gets the hook. Not going to follow up. Good idea. DSV is extremely tanky. You cannot just up and kill a lonely Vi and without using a bunch of ultimates. That would lose you the fights overall.
Oh, absolutely. Especially a Vi with a Frozen Heart and a Rondolence.
It's a little bit of zoning. His inhibitor's pretty healthy right now. Vexum taking a little bit of damage. He's at half health right now.
He does have life steal.
Flash Euphoria ulted. Not herself, Zonia is coming in. Spartan ultimate on Suki. DSV taking a lot of damage too. Shimatora taking a lot of damage. This is not going to go well. It's not going for a fuck on his DSV. Getting popped up by Weaver Reaper. Fantastic fight with a Reprot team. Meganar, Vexen coming in, ultimate on Shimatora. The gate stopping the damage and the stun. Shimatora getting the shield. Vexen going to take a lot of damage. Weaver Reaper going to just clean this up. Spartan going to clean up Suki. Releptic behind him.
Shut down.
Reprot team, just when we thought they were out of it, comes out with a fantastic team fight. Relaptic wasn't in position to be laying down the pain in that team fight. He's the only member that's alive, but Reprot team, maybe? I mean, there's pretty high respawn timers. We'll see if they can actually get the inhibitor. I don't think that they...
I don't see why not. They have a Riven.
Yeah,
Riven's
no,
almost
yeah,
there.
they have 30 seconds.
And it's a Sivir. Sivir cannot just, you know, walk up and stop Riven from taking it. Riven will blow her up, needless to say. Riven's ultimate is now up, so there's no reason she won't be able to. So that's a free inhibitor. Top inhib not going to be up for another minute. Objectives coming back up at 30 seconds. The Reprot team, if they're smart about this, they're going to just try to position around for that in 30 seconds. That'll be the 5th dragon.
Looks like they're going to try and bushwhack here for a little bit.
They know.
Try and get a nice catch.
This will be an easy. If Spilly walks right into this, this is really bad for them. Spilly gets knocked by the completely bushwhacked DSV and Spilly. This might be the game-winning fight here. They might be able to win the game completely off this. Weaver on Relaptic. Relaptic getting healed up by Suki. Suki in a great position. Wave still up. Vexum tanky enough to be able to stop this. Supers are coming on top lane on Reprot team. I don't know if this doesn't work out, they're going to lose an inhibitor turret, a base turret, except, never mind, Euphoria is up there to stop it.
Boomerang just barely missing out there on the Spartan. Yeah, that was huge there that Relaptic was able to get away. Suki coming in with those heals. Without that Sivir wave clear, that would have made the game a lot harder to...
So that's a free dragon for a Reprot team. This will be the 5th, unless it's stolen. I don't think they're going to be there in time, though.
No, this will be the 4th. I believe.
You're right, yeah.
Yeah, that is the 4th dragon.
Oh, it's very wrong. Scorpio taking a few boomerangs. Stopping the back. A little bit of BM there.
So Reprot team coming up huge there in that fight, and then with an excellent bushwhack to buy themselves a dragon. Weaver Reaper warding up on the Baron side of the map. As you actually see, one thing that I want to note here, there is one upgraded trinket on the side of Reprot team. All 5 trinkets are upgraded on the side of Team Fluffy Bunnies, so good on you, Fluffy Bunnies.
Yeah, like we said earlier, upgraded trinkets are extremely valuable. Like, if you want to be the mayor of Value Town, you upgrade your trinket level 9.
Absolutely, absolutely. It is really like a free sight stone. It's insane. Shimatora picking up that GA. Pretty good buy there, coming out
now
from
they're
him.
just going to play the Baron dance. No inhibitors except for the mid inhibitor on Fluffy Bunnies. Reprot team can play around that, push down the mid lane, and resort to Baron, or they can go some completely alternate lane. It's a risk to take without vision, which they don't have a lot of. They only have the Baron visioned up from the Reprot team. Fluffy Bunny's in a pretty good spot. 2 open inhibitors, and all they have to do is keep pushing this mid lane, and Reprot team cannot take a free Baron.
Yeah, Vexum gonna push out that bot lane with his teleport. The Reprot team gonna be looking here to try and fight, because they're actually pushing in the whole way to... Yeah, this is Reprot team just pushing out the mid lane and peeling back to Baron. Both teams actually have a pretty nice amount of vision. Actually, Reprot team just had a few words go out now. But both teams have pretty good vision around that Baron. Definitely the next point of contention.
So this bushwhack easily broadcasted to Fluffy Bunnies. They know what's up. They're not gonna have any part of it, and they're gonna push mid instead. Maybe just pressure that inhibitor lane. They're trying to show them, hey, we have control of this game. You don't.
Yeah, it's interesting that Vexum backed. I figured that he would. As his Benji's Veil does go down. So it looks like Fluffy Bunny's more interested here in pushing this lane out. I'm surprised that Vexum didn't stick bot lane. There's a big wave bot, and he does have that teleport.
So they might try to pressure mid with this bot lane. Nope, they're actually going to pressure Baron instead. Very peculiar. Not a good idea considering mid lane has supers. If this fight goes wrong, they will lose the game.
Yeah, but they've successfully warded off Reprot team here and been able to buy themselves more Baron vision. They clear out a pink ward. And right now, Reprot team actually only has that one little ward in Baron pit.
Relaptic going in for the CS on top lane. Stop that from pushing the other way. Bot
Two
lane
GAs now.
pushing Reprot team's turret. That's very good for Fluffy Bunnies. Not going to be able to kill it though. They'll just do a little bit of damage. This will regen over time. Negligible.
Slowly regen over time. Like one, I think it's like 1 health per second.
Yeah.
It equates to it getting not much more health.
Gold difference of only 4k. It's anyone's game right now. When you're at 80k gold on either team, a 4k deficit is meaningless.
Yeah, at this point, the 80 carries are full build, and the APs are getting near to that full build. So that gold difference only going to be really showing on the support. As we actually see, very interesting here from Spilly, picking up a Warmogs on that Cassidy. With the Warmogs plus Rod of Ages, that is a very high health Cassidy.
Very good idea too, because the health synergizing with the Zhonya's armor, and there's a lot of physical damage coming out of Reprot team. The Spartan, Shimatura, and Weave Reaper all doing physical damage, except for the smoke screen, I suppose, and the decoy.
Not to mention the fact that it gives you a great amount of regen.
That is also true. You will stay alive.
Get pretty healthy as we just see vision battles going back and forth here on Baron. Neither team really wants to make a mistake, as now the Reprot team has their wards down and have cleared the wards out here from Fluffy Bunnies.
Vexum has to be the frontline tank in this fight. Absolutely. Spartan in a position. Suki gonna respond with a flash.
Immediate flash there
trade for
from
Reprot
Suki.
team.
Immediate flash there from Suki. Although if Spartan would have went in there wasn't too much follow-up. I think he would have just died. But Suki's playing it safe anyway. Suki actually is a pretty tanky Nami with the Ronduin's Omen along with the Locket to the Iron Solari coming out there. So all kinds of tankiness in addition to a whole lot of damage on the side of Fluffy Bunnies.
Huge wave from Fluffy Bunnies going on the top lane. They're gonna pressure that top inhibitor sooner or later. Fluffy Bunnies knows this. Will they be able to pressure mid in response? Yeah, they push that really hard. Looks like they're going. They know. That is a free inhibitor if they can play this right.
Reprot team a little split off
wait for that
here.
top lane. The top lane's pushing. There's a ton of minions there. Vexum now getting his spell shield broken. And 5 are rotating awkwardly, trying to get a little bit of vision. Spartan trying to bushwhack, hoping a little bit of a misplay. Now they're just going to clear out the top lane and nothing else is going to happen. That's a little unfortunate. They had a very nice advantage there with the way the top lane was building up.
Yeah, they didn't want to get bushwhacked, though. The Reprot team has shown that they have no problem with sitting in a bush and killing someone that walks past. And the Spartan was looking for a pick there, someone rotating sloppily through that fog of war. I think this third dragon's going to be going down here.
Third dragon, 3 and 4 in dragons, not bad. Unfortunate that Reprot team has to wait another 6 minutes to hope for that 5 dragon dream.
Yeah, it does keep the 5th dragon off of Reprot team. That would make fighting for Baron a lot more difficult. Now that both teams have put all of their inhibitors back up. Just gonna keep pushing back and forth until one team makes a mistake here. As looks like Reprot team gonna get that vision denial in the Baron pit. I don't believe Fluffy Bunnies actually has any wards in the pit. Vexum getting his Banshee spell pop yet again from another top dog fresh hook.
Looks like they're going to be zoning around Baron a little bit. Vexum missing, even not getting hooked. Jumping away, Euphoria in a decent position. Taking a little bit of damage. There's the bubble. Spartan trying to make a play happen. Not going to be able to work off that. They look at the bot lane. Reprot team has a fantastic wave on bot lane. Cassidy, Spilly going in to stop it. Looks like they're going to try to get this Baron. It's going to be a 4v5 with Spilly on bot.
Yeah, that is.
Spilly's heading back up to Baron. We're taking this so quickly though with that 4th dragon.
Yeah, the amount of damage.
Who's with the smite battle? Oh boy, the Lysandra picks it up.
And the Lysandra picks it up.
Reprot team. Both smites not getting it. How unfortunate. Vexum getting in a very good position. Getting rid of the bow though. Getting taken down. Spartan getting a nice 3-man ultimate. Suki now in the middle of it all. not take it, just take it home. Billy now being the only one left. Reprot team, 5 members strong with Baron buff. That looks like it's GG.
That will be the game. Reprot team playing very nicely with that bottom wave there. And just a very scattered fight on the side of Fluffy Bunnies. Gnar wasn't able to get the most impactful ultimate off there. He was mini Gnar until he was about at a third of his health, and then he was able to transform into big Gnar, but at that point there was no follow-up on his ultimate. It was merely there to cause the upfront damage that it caused, and the Reprot team gonna take this nail biter of the game.
GG to both sides. Very intense game. Fantastic positioning from Weaver Reaper, absolutely. Weaver Reaper and the Spartan worked really well together to kill that backline using the AoE CC.
Yeah, they were finally able to get to Releptic, something that previously hadn't happened. They weren't able to get into him because that giant frontline tankiness of Gnar. But it wasn't there, exactly. During that last final fight, it was scattered from Fluffy Bunnies. They didn't have everyone in the correct positions, and part of that was just because of the desperation of trying to get to that Baron. It seemed like Billy went bot lane to clear that wave thinking, oh, we have plenty of time, we have vision on Baron, they're not going to be able to do this, and as soon as they see him, they burn that Baron down at just an incredibly fast rate. I mean, you have a 6-item 80 carry, in addition to a 6-item Riven, you're going to burn that Baron down very, very quickly.
Yeah, that was a great game to watch. I like the compositions. It was a lot of us seeing those champions that are just strong on their own in solo queue, not so much extremely synergetic composition.
Yeah, I would say that both teams tried to play their compositions as well as they could up until that last fight where Fluffy Bunnies kind of had a big goof that ended up costing them the game with the disorganized fight the way that they played that last fight. But outside of that, I think you're right. I think there weren't, these compositions weren't fine-tuned to do what they were supposed to do, but they worked well enough, and both of these teams played those compositions very well. With Reprot team continuously knowing, hey, we need to get an engagement on them. We need to be able to have an upfront fight where we immediately blow like 3 people up, as opposed to catching one person and then getting chased down by this Frozen Mountain Gnar and this Kassadin. And they tried to set up those situations with Bushwhacks with vision control.
Yeah, I'm hoping next time we'll see more picks that are very synergetic with each other. It wasn't like bad, like it wasn't awful, like you seeing an Urgot and
yeah,
and I guess Urgot really doesn't synergize with much, but but I mean,
it synergizes with losing,
right? Yeah. So whatever else loses, Yasuo was a good one. But,
well, Yasuo should be losing. I'd love to see every Yasuo lose. But yeah, I think you're correct with that. But really long game, lots of killing, lots of the struggle for Baron vision control was a continuous thing. Both teams constantly going back and forth with that. One team comes in because they have a little bit of a bigger wave pushing on one side, and they're able to push the other team out and get control over the Baron. And that's eventually what ended up losing Fluffy Bunnies the game, because they lost that Baron vision control, and then there was a really big wave that pressured from Reprot team, and they were able to burn down the Baron in the very little window that they had to do it. In addition to being able to execute the fight that ensued afterwards very, very effectively. Again, like you said, Weaver Reaper and the Spartan came off huge by jumping straight into the backline and just outright killing Releptic on that server.
Absolutely. Okay, I think we're going to take a break, guys. We're going to get to game 2 in a little bit. People are taking some bathroom breaks. So we should be back within 10 minutes to put some music on for you people, and we'll see you back in a little bit.